Hello, 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 my beautiful friend. Are you enjoying your coffee? I hope you're having a coffee so I look like a magician here. You can see from screens. Okay, enough. Let's get back to our business of creating WBS. What was the name of the process? Create WBS. So we expect to create a document called WBS. And here we go. In this mini lesson, we're gonna know how WBS looks like. Okay. So, guys, let's recap. What was the goal? Breaking down those deliverables that are mentioned in the scope statement. Why we break them down? So we could assign, so we could estimate, control, manage our work, our scope better. Okay? This is how a typical WBS, a simple one, looks like for our hospital project. Okay? It's a visual hierarchy showing how the total project scope is divided into smaller manageable parts. Okay, so look at that blue rectangle. It says one is that WBS code we talked about before. Okay, that's a code one. Okay, 1.0 is Northern Ontario Hospital Project. This is our project. Okay, it's not a deliverable, it's our project's name or title. Then next level is our deliverables. Okay, that white rectangles. So 1.1 is pharmacy and imaging labs. These are high-level deliverables that are mentioned in deliverable section of scope statement. Okay, 1.2 project management plan. So these processes we do develop and create some plans. These are also considered deliverables. Okay, why? Because we need them to execute, to do our project. Without a plan, your project won't success. So these are also necessary. That's why in some projects, project management plans that we create, those X management plans for every piece of the project, or the baselines we create, also considered a deliverable. That's why it is mentioned project management. Okay, everything that relates to management, paper and system. Deliverable, the next deliverable is 1.3, parking facility. Every hospital needs a parking. That's a high-level deliverable. 1.4, inpatient care facility. It's another high-level deliverable. 1.5, training and transition. It is also called deliverable. So it's just shortlisted, guys. A big hospital project could have 10 or 20 high-level deliverables. Okay, all of those deliverables go to these white rectangles. Okay, these are called level 1 of WBS chart. Now we have our first level of WBS. That 1.0 Northern Ontario Hospital Project, that's just project's name. Okay, we don't consider that as a level of WBS. The first one is that high-level deliverables, which we exactly copy from scope statement. Now we zoom on each deliverable. Okay, we do decomposition and we break those deliverables down into smaller works. Okay, for example, guys, let's go to deliverable 1.4, which is inpatient care facility. Okay, so we break that down into 1.4.1 ICU unit and 1.4.2 medical surgical unit. Okay, so look at the WBS code of that red rectangles for ICU unit and medical surgical unit. It starts with 1.4. Now look up there, inpatient care facility. 1.4 is WBS code of their parent deliverable. Okay, now we start the second level with the same WBS code, and then we add numbers 1 or 2 depending on the smaller works. Okay, so these red rectangles are next level of WBS. Okay, the first one was deliverable. Next one is called control accounts. Control accounts. It helps us to track our progress. PM, which is you always track your progress, your schedule, your cost, how the team doing, quality, risk, everything. Okay, how do you track? By looking at how each control account doing. Okay, for example, you look up ICU unit, because we're gonna break down those also control account into smaller pieces. Okay, you're gonna look at the ICU unit and you're gonna see, okay, is ICU unit over budget, under budget, behind the schedule, or just on track. Now, look at ICU unit 1.4.1. That's one of our control accounts, okay? Again, we do decomposition. We decompose that into smaller works, which are called work packages, okay? So 1.4.1.1 is design work package, and then HVAC installation work package, and then, for example, testing work package. So we broke down control accounts into smaller works called work packages. We used the term work packages several times throughout this tutorial. This is work package. So work package is, guys, the smallest level of WBS, okay? It won't go further than that. So we won't break down work WBS anymore here in this process, okay? You're gonna see something later in a schedule, but right now, all you care is work package is the smallest, I insist, smallest level of WBS. So first level was deliverable, next level was control account, and third level is work packages, smallest level, okay? This is how a typical standard WBS looks like, guys. Let's review colors again. White color, a deliverable, big chunk of work, which we got it from scope statement, okay? So at the end of the project, you as a project manager, you need to show that deliverable to a sponsor, to your client. Client only cares about your deliverables, not that work packages. Work packages is your business. Okay, control accounts, your business. Customer doesn't care. You should take care of that project. That's why they are paying you. Now, next color is red color. We said it's a control account. A control account is a checkpoint in WBS used to monitor and control the scope, cost, and schedule for a group of related work. Okay, it's a checkpoint. It sits above work packages and it is assigned to a manager, okay? And it is used in monitoring and controlling and performance tracking. I'm gonna elaborate with an example, don't worry. And finally, green color, we said it's a work package. It's the smallest unit in the WBS that can be assigned to someone, estimated for time, cost, and resources, okay? The whole purpose is to make work estimatable, assignable. Awesome, let's wrap it up, guys. So, WBS has 4 benefits to us, to our team. 1, we can assign people. We can assign each work package to like our employees, our workers. We can estimate time. Why? Because work packages are small enough so we could estimate how long each one will take. We can estimate cost. Okay, again, same thing as a schedule. It is a small, so we can know how much each work package will cost. And we can track progress. How? With control accounts. Let's elaborate with an example. That ICU unit control account. When ICU unit is broken into, for example, room design, HVAC installation, and compliance testing, these are 3 work packages, you can assign, for example, architects to design work package, okay? Engineers to install HVAC work package, inspectors to do testing. See, you can assign different employees, different departments to different work packages. That's why we say WBS helps us assign people. Now, estimate time. For example, instead of guessing how long build ICU will take, okay, build ICU is higher level, like control account level. How can you guess how long building ICU will take? It is better if we break them down and have clearer idea, okay? So the team can say design, for example, take 3 weeks. HVAC installation take 6 weeks. And then testing take 2 weeks, okay? Then 3 plus 6, 9 plus 2, 11. So total build ICU will take 11 weeks. See? It makes our life easier. Estimate cost. For example, we can say design take, for example, we can say ICU design, that work package, cost us 50K, HVAC 500K, testing 30K. Now we know that the build ICU control account will cost, for example, 580K. Okay, if we just wanted to guess, okay, without breaking down, okay, how much build ICU will cost us? I don't know. Yeah, you don't know. You need to break it down. Okay. Now, track progress, how it helps us to track progress. For example, if only HVAC work package installation is completed, but design is not completed and testing are not done, the PM can see exactly where the project stands instead of saying ICU is half done. Okay? ICU is half done is vague. It doesn't help client. Client will say, what do you mean? Where exactly? Like, what is done, what is not done? You know that, okay, HVAC is done. Now, you need to focus on testing part and you need to focus on, for example, design part. And then go talk to architects, go talk to inspectors and say, hey, what are you doing? We're behind the schedule. Go get the job done. You beep. Sorry. Okay, so this is how WBS works. And to clear things up, let's have a question and see what type of question you may get from WBS on your final test. Mini question. Before getting into mini question, guys, keep this in mind that okay, we talked about WBS in the previous slide and previous mini lesson, but it doesn't mean, I really mean it, it doesn't mean that this question's answer is also WBS, okay? So I want you to listen carefully and focus here. You're managing a 2-year predictive project to build a new corporate headquarters. The scope statement has been approved, but team leads now ask for clarity on their responsibilities, and the sponsor wants a detailed schedule. What should you do next to ensure both clarity and an accurate schedule? A. Begin drafting the project schedule based on milestone dates listed in the scope statement and assign tasks accordingly. B. Assign work based on similar past projects using historical data and expert judgment to avoid delays in scheduling. C. Consult the sponsor and provide a high-level roadmap while delaying task-level planning until team leads submit their estimate. D. Collaborate with team leads to decompose the approved scope into a WBS and work packages for accurate planning and task assignment. Please think for 5 seconds and answer it under 30 seconds. Okay, let's get it done together. The correct option is D. But why D, guys? Let's go line by line. Let's learn something from this question. Hey, teach us something. You're managing a 2-year predictive project. So our development approach is predictive, not agile or adaptive. What does this mean? It means we follow some processes, we do some processes. By doing some processes, I mean we take steps in a right order. We do things in a right order. The order of doing things is very important. And we don't care what project it is. It says the scope statement has been approved. So we have done define scope, okay? And sponsor approved the scope statement, but team leads now ask for clarity on their responsibilities. Okay, team leads doesn't know, okay, what should they do, on what work they should work on and concentrate, and the sponsor wants a detailed schedule. We said that to schedule, to budget, to assign resources, what do we need? We need smaller works. How do we get to those smaller works? By decomposing deliverables that we have in a scope statement. Okay, so what do we call that decomposed chart? WBS. So there are two concerns: task clarity and accurate schedule. Look option D. We collaborate with the team. Whenever you see the term collaborate, it means that option, you shouldn't eliminate that option. That option is strong option. By high chances, that option could be your correct option. So do not eliminate that option, because collaboration is a very key term in project manager. Every decision you want to make, you need to collaborate with the team as a project manager, okay? So collaborate with the team leads to decompose the approved scope into a WBS and work packages for accurate planning and task assignments. I think that's a clear option. Why? Because we decompose those high-level deliverables into estimatable, manageable, assignable, and controllable work packages. Okay, these are smaller works. Now we can assign people, engineers, architects to different work packages. We can estimate how long each work package will take, how much each work package will cost us. Okay, so this is the right way to remove those two concerns: assignment clarity and accurate schedule. Now let's read the description. WBS, of course, converts approved high-level scope into detailed, actionable work, enabling accurate scheduling and resource planning. WBS also provides the foundation for the project schedule, resource assignments, and performance measurement. Remember, WBS had 4 benefits. We could assign people, we could estimate time, we could estimate cost, we could track progress. So WBS acts as a foundation document and chart. Okay, and also WBS ensures clarity for team leads and meets sponsors' need for a task level breakdown. But let's get into the reasons of why other options are incorrect. A, begin drafting the project schedule based on milestone dates. This is premature, guys. Okay, because without a WBS, task assignment and scheduling will lack structure and traceability, risking inaccuracies. We may have some high-level milestones. For example, by Q2 of 2027, you need to complete, for example, this deliverable. But this is very high level. Okay, we cannot build our schedule, our detailed schedule, on this high-level data. No. We have a tool called WBS. Why don't we use that WBS tool? That's why there is a process called Create WBS. And when do we start that process? Right after our scope statement is created. So when we say we need to do the processes and take some steps in the right order in predictive projects, we mean exactly like this. Okay, we do define a scope, so we create our scope statement. Now, based on that deliverables mentioned in the scope statement, we build our WBS, we create our WBS. Okay, this is how processes work. So A is incorrect and premature. B, assign work based on similar past projects using historical data. No, not two projects are same, guys. We cannot base our schedule on similar close projects. No. Sponsor wants accurate schedule. Look at the last line. Sponsor wants an accurate schedule, not just close enough schedule. So option B is risky. While useful in estimating, if you don't have any data, if you can't break down deliverables into work packages, okay, this is the option. But it didn't mention in the question, so you can easily break down and create your WBS here. So while useful in estimating, this bypasses formal decomposition and can lead to scope gaps and overlaps, of course, because not two projects are same. C says consult the sponsor and provide a high-level roadmap while delaying. No. Sponsor contacted you and asked for accurate schedule. You shouldn't provide high-level roadmap. Sponsor will be mad and fire you. Hey, get out of my office. You're not paid anymore and you're fired. Okay? So C is ineffective. Delaying decomposition hinders planning and coordination. Estimates must follow work definition. Awesome. This was a very, very good question, guys. Now, let's get into WBS's brother or child, which is WBS Dictionary, the second output of this process.